I served 3 years in prison for my wife, Eleanor Vance. After getting out, all I received was a $1 opening bonus. Just as I thought I'd been given the wrong one, I noticed the opening bonus of the guy next to me, Brandon Reed, only had a single bill in it too. I put my worries aside and excitedly stayed with Eleanor Vance for the opening ceremony. But that night, I scrolled through Brandon Reed's Twitter post. He had posted a picture of a check. "Congratulations, Ms. Vance, on your grand opening. The boss is so generous, giving a $100 million opening bonus." The comments section was filled with envy, congratulating him and the boss on making it official. Not only did Eleanor Vance not explain, she was eager to distance herself from me. "You just got out, it's not suitable to go public. Let's have a secret marriage for now. To outsiders, call me the boss." Then, she even liked Brandon Reed's Twitter post. I wiped away a tear and called her arch-rival, Sophia Sterling. "From now on, I'm working for you. You were willing to serve 3 years in prison for Eleanor Vance's career. Why suddenly come work for me?" I remember, she explicitly promised that she'd give you the department manager position after you got out. Are you sure you don't want it? I rubbed the $1 bill repeatedly, a bitter smile escaping me. "Yeah, I don't want it." Just as I said it, Eleanor Vance suddenly appeared in front of me, asking suspiciously, "What don't you want?" Without batting an eye, I hung up the phone and told her the truth, the department manager position. Hearing this, a flicker of light appeared in the complicated expression on the woman's face, as if she was relieved. "Perfect. I was planning to give it to Brandon Reed anyway. You can start as an office assistant." Hearing this, I couldn't help but frown. For Eleanor Vance's company, I had endured 3 years behind bars. She had explicitly promised me that this position would be mine when I got out. But who would have thought that in the end, I would become a mere grunt worker? At this moment, Eleanor Vance personally broke the promise she made 3 years ago. Yet, I couldn't see the slightest hint of guilt in her eyes. My eyes burned, and an unstoppable surge of heartache flooded me. Seeing that I didn't respond, Eleanor Vance took an agreement out of her briefcase and tossed it onto the coffee table. She said casually, "This is the secret marriage agreement. Just think of it as being for the sake of the company." The words, "secret marriage agreement," stung my eyes fiercely. 3 years ago, the day before I went to prison, Eleanor Vance and I got married at City Hall. The only belief that sustained me through it was the prospect of a happy married life after getting out. But now, I had become someone she was ashamed to admit. She even wanted me to just disappear. I laughed at myself inwardly. Without a second thought, I picked up the pen nearby. Eleanor Vance suddenly turned her head, looking at my hand as I was about to sign, and frowned. The man who used to want to announce this marriage to the world, why was he suddenly so decisive? She instinctively pressed down on my wrist, saying something cryptic. "Aren't you going to think about it?" I didn't lift my gaze and signed immediately. Having gotten the secret marriage agreement she wanted, she fell silent for a moment, seemingly without reason. After a while, she cleared her throat, and her voice softened. "David, don't worry. Once the company stabilizes, I'll definitely compensate you well." I gave a perfunctory MHM. Just then, the company chat group lit up. Brandon Reed had become the company's first department manager, and all the employees were congratulating him. "We've all seen how you've been with Ms. Vance all these years. This position is well-deserved. I think, if Brandon Reed is the department manager today, maybe tomorrow he'll be Ms. Vance's husband? We'll really kiss up to you from now on." Immediately after, Brandon Reed sent an emoji, confirming everything. I still think David Miller is luckier. He served 3 years and still got a job as an office assistant at the company. The boss really values him. Knowing the truth, he was clearly mocking me. I reluctantly tore my gaze away from the screen, only to inadvertently see Eleanor Vance staring at her phone. The smile on her lips was a tenderness I'd never seen before. It made me wonder, was she keeping our marriage secret for the company, or for Brandon Reed? To fulfill the secret marriage agreement, Eleanor Vance moved from the master bedroom to the guest room. In addition, she made it perfectly clear I wasn't allowed to ride in the same car as her. I wasn't allowed to talk to her at the company, only call her the boss. Also, the relationship between her and Brandon Reed was just an act, and I wasn't allowed to make a big deal out of it. After giving instructions, Eleanor Vance disappeared for 3 days. It wasn't until I took a day off due to a fever that she bothered to call me. You've only been working for a few days and you're already taking time off? Isn't that a bit dramatic? You'll have to go to the hospital yourself. I'm still on a business trip. I don't have time to take you. The result was as expected. I mumbled a hazy but as soon as I finished speaking, I heard a familiar male voice on the phone. Eleanor, come here and help me with my tie. Although Eleanor Vance hung up the phone promptly, I still heard her footsteps rushing over. When I checked Brandon Reed's Twitter post again, he had changed his profile picture. It matched Eleanor Vance's. I remembered when we were dating, I always pestered her to change to matching profile pictures. But she always had countless reasons to refuse: too much trouble, childish, poor taste. I don't know what was going through her mind, but she kept frantically sending me messages and calling me. I only replied with one line: this is my rest time. Please understand, boss. After finishing my 4-drip, I returned to the company. My colleagues were as cold as ever, piling work onto my desk. They probably saw me as just a lucky person taken in by the boss after getting out of prison. I should probably take on more. I adjusted my mood and packed all the couple items from the locker into a black trash bag. If I had known they would never see the light of day, I wouldn't have bothered bringing them into the company. I was about to go out and throw them away when I unexpectedly ran into Eleanor Vance. Before I could react, she grabbed me angrily and dragged me all the way to the stairwell. When she saw the trash bag in my hand, the woman's face darkened. You have time to clean up trash, but no time to answer the phone? The strong scent of men's cologne on her made me instinctively take a step back. I said calmly, I replied to your messages. Hearing this, Eleanor Vance seemed to ignite. She demanded, why did you call me boss in the message? What was the difference between on the phone and in person? She was the one who told me to, so why was she unhappy when I did? Seeing that I had no intention of explaining, she let out a cold laugh. You know I don't like narrow-minded men. You'd better not turn into someone I dislike. Saying that, she snatched the bag from my hand and threw it to the ground with force. Amidst the resounding crash in the stairwell, she walked away haughtily. Looking at the shattered photos of us and matching mugs, my heart trembled. It was as if our many years of feelings were also destined to shatter. I picked up the pieces and called a lawyer to draft divorce papers. I got the document and went into the print room to print a copy. Just as I had braced myself and was about to knock, Eleanor Vance opened the door first. Meeting her icy gaze, I calmly handed her the document. Sign this when you have a moment. Alien. Or Vance didn't even look at it. She just flipped to the last page, signed it, and handed it back casually. Come out to socialize with me in a bit. Be sharp and remember to handle the drinks for me. I was puzzled. Eleanor Vance's alcohol tolerance was unusually good. Why did she need me to handle the drinks? Before I could ask, Brandon Reed emerged from behind her, looking smug. The boss is so considerate. She even remembered I can't drink because I have a cold. Brandon Reed sat down next to Eleanor Vance casually, wrapping his arm around her shoulder. Seeing me, he frowned and complained, Miss Vance is just making a big fuss. It's just a cold, but she won't let me drink or even come to work. If I hadn't begged her, she wouldn't have even let me come to this event." Hearing him say this, Eleanor Vance dotingly pinched his nose. "I won't watch you, but don't complain that it's too much trouble when it's time to take your medicine." The two of them clearly looked like a couple in love. Her gentle and considerate manner was also a side of her I was unfamiliar with. Holding the divorce agreement in my hand, I felt a strange sense of relief. Upon arriving at the restaurant, Eleanor Vance chatted with the partners for a while. Then she came back and began introducing people one by one. "This is Brandon Reed, our company's department manager." When she introduced me, the partner's boss frowned slightly. "I remember very clearly, this gentleman was imprisoned for defaulting on payments. Ms. Vance, you truly value loyalty." Eleanor Vance tensed up, glanced at me, then offered a polite smile and tacitly agreed. During the project discussion, Eleanor Vance and Brandon Reed sat close together. She kept giving me glances, signaling me to proactively handle the drinks for Brandon Reed. During the meal, someone noticed their intimate gestures and couldn't help but tease, "Ms. Vance and Mr. Reed look really good together. I wonder if Ms. Vance is married?" As soon as the words were spoken, Eleanor Vance looked at me, a flicker of hesitation in her eyes. The next second, we both said almost in unison, "No." Even though we gave the same answer, she suddenly turned her head and looked at me in shock. It wasn't until the partners went to the restroom that she sent me a message. "It's all just an act. Don't take it to heart." Eleanor Vance said it was an act, but I was telling the truth. After all, she had already signed the divorce agreement. I glanced at the message and flipped my phone screen down. Seeing this, Eleanor Vance, who was sitting opposite me, was about to get up and come over, but I turned and went to the restroom. Coming out of the stall, I bumped into Brandon Reed. He stood with his arms crossed, clearly in a posture of victory. "David Miller, you're truly pathetic as a man, so disliked by your wife. If I were you, I wouldn't even dare show my face." I calmly lowered my head to wash my hands, saying flatly, "You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Reed." After drying my hands, I was about to leave. But Brandon Reed flashed in front of me, blocking my way, and looked me up and down. "How is the boss's husband still wearing worn-out clothes? Oh, I forgot. Eleanor probably spent all her money buying high-end designer stuff for me. Sorry about that." The expensive designer brands on him seemed to constantly remind me of the difference between $1 and $100 million. In that instant, the bitterness that had been building up inside me erupted, and I fled in panic. Returning to the room, I picked up my things and prepared to leave. Eleanor Vance rushed forward to stop me, her tone gentle. "Don't go yet. I'll take you home later." Just as I was about to refuse, Brandon Reed suddenly burst in, looking panicked. All eyes immediately turned to him. Eleanor Vance instantly let go of me and ran over to ask what had happened. Brandon Reed fumbled through his bag and then searched all his pockets frantically. Then he exclaimed in shock, "My custom watch is gone." As soon as the words fell, everyone in the room started helping Brandon Reed look for the watch. As he searched, he kept muttering, "This was a birthday gift from Ms. Vance. It's over 30 million yuan. I really don't want to lose it." Note, the original text says 3,000, which is over 30 million. Since the JSON table only provides $100 million I'll keep 3,000 as over 30 million yuan as it's a specific item value and converting currency might lose context. However, given the context of being $100 million, 3,000 might also be intended as tens of millions of dollars. Let's assume for cultural adaptation that this value is significant in the US context as well, so keeping it as tens of millions in dollars makes more sense in the context of high-end luxury. Let's rephrase, it's worth tens of millions. This was a birthday gift from Ms. Vance. It's worth tens of millions. I really don't want to lose it. Although I didn't know what game he was playing, I just wanted to leave immediately. But as soon as I reached the door, Brandon Reed reached out and blocked me. David, let me check your bag first. Otherwise, you can't rule out suspicion. I knew whether I had stolen his watch or not. I'm tired. Mr. Reed can look himself. Seeing that I was determined to leave, Brandon Reed actually grabbed my bag. In the struggle, the contents of my bag spilled all over the floor. And among the scattered items, there really was a watch. I stared at the watch in shock, then met Brandon Reed's provocative gaze. Why are you framing me? I turned around and saw everyone behind me looking at me with contempt. Especially Eleanor Vance. She frowned, her eyes filled with disgust towards me. I instinctively tried to explain to her, I didn't take this. But my explanation seemed so weak in the face of the blatant evidence. Immediately after, Brandon Reed picked up the watch and began to complain in a wrong tone, "This watch is very important to me. How could David steal it?" I originally thought David had turned over a new leaf in prison, but I didn't expect him to still resort to unscrupulous means for money. "I don't dare work with you anymore." Brandon Reed's few words made everyone present's faces turn ugly. The partner's boss took the lead in breaking the awkward silence and said sternly, "Ms. Vance, let's forget about this collaboration." With that, he took his people and left the room in a huff. I was planning to chase after them to explain, but I received a solid slap from Eleanor Vance. Meeting my disbelieving gaze, there was no remorse in her eyes. "I didn't expect you to be someone who is so blinded by money. I brought you out, not for you to steal things." Eleanor Vance's words completely condemned me. Didn't she know what kind of person I was? Had she forgotten why I went to prison? Seeing the anger in her eyes, I knew she wouldn't believe me. I could only offer a bitter smile and hand her my phone. "Then just call the police." She looked down at the phone, then frowned and looked back at me, still not making a move. The long stare seemed to make me see the woman in front of me clearly. After a long pause, Eleanor Vance let out a cold snort. "Unreasonable." The woman turned around, put the watch on Brandon Reed's wrist, and gently coaxed him to leave. In the room, only I remained, along with the mess on the floor. I picked up my scattered belongings and headed straight to the airport without hesitation. Late at night in the waiting lounge, I was planning to draft my resignation when I received Eleanor Vance's termination notice in advance. Her message was full of anger. "Don't come to the company anymore. Go home and reflect properly." Seeing her absurd demand, I couldn't help but give a bitter laugh. Without thinking, I took a photo of the divorce papers. We had both signed and sent it to her. I also attached a message, "Eleanor Vance, I wish you and Brandon Reed a happy and long life together. But on the condition that you get the divorce certificate with me, otherwise I'll sue you for bigamy." As soon as I sent that message, Eleanor Vance started calling me frantically, like a debt collector. I hung up every call, and Eleanor Vance started sending me messages. "David Miller, what kind of joke is this? When did I ever agree to a divorce? If you really think there's something going on between me and Brandon Reed, then I'll actually make something happen for you to see." I replied, "Go ahead," and then turned off my phone, starting to queue for boarding. Sitting in the plane cabin, I let out a deep sigh. From the 3 years in prison until now, it felt like a dream. I couldn't believe how daring I was back then, willing to take the blame for Eleanor Vance. Even so, it didn't bring me the life I wanted. I still remembered Eleanor Vance's arch-rival, Sophia Sterling, had found me before I went to prison. "You're not worth it for one woman. Why don't you come work for me?" But I was stubborn, wasted 3 years of my youth, and missed a good opportunity. After getting off the plane, I sat in a taxi and turned my phone back on. Only then did I see a video in the company chat group, in the center of the dance floor, Brandon Reed was dancing gracefully, his hand on Eleanor Vance's slender waist. They were both wearing custom evening gowns, their colors coordinating, clearly a matching set for couples. And the others at the scene started cheering for them to get together. Eleanor Vance didn't object, but instead leaned closer to him. The two of them were tender and affectionate, looking exactly like a couple. As an observer, I even thought it was their wedding reception. The company chat group was even livelier, with everyone spamming 99, a common Chinese symbol for wishing couples a long life together, equivalent to forever or eternally. Brandon Reed even boldly showed off on his moments. Now that the company is rid of the thief, it will definitely get better and better, and the boss will love me more and more. A few seconds later, Eleanor Vance liked his post. But at this moment, my heart was calm. I left the company chat group and paid no more attention. Leaning against the car window, watching the dazzling scenery flash by, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. I took out the $1 opening bonus from my bag, constantly reminding myself that the woman's heart had changed long ago, and I should learn to cut my losses in time. Upon arriving at the hotel, I received an offer from Sophia Sterling. Come to work when you're rested. I always keep my word, the department manager position is yours. Although this job was 3 years late, it wasn't too late. Eleanor Vance and I are over. Don't worry, I'll take my work seriously. After hanging up, I found that Eleanor Vance had sent me 99 plus messages. I had originally just put her on Do Not Disturb, but now I decided to block her. The next morning, Sophia Sterling asked me to meet her at a coffee shop to discuss starting the job. As soon as I sat down, my phone started ringing frantically. It was an unknown number. I answered, and it was Eleanor Vance. David Miller, what's going on? Why aren't you home? Tell me where you are immediately. I have something to tell you. Before I could speak, Sophia Sterling smoothly grabbed the phone and said slowly, "Long time no see, Eleanor Vance. Your husband, oh wait, ex-husband, is here with me. But he's not available to talk to you right now." Eleanor Vance on the other end of the phone was stunned, clearly flustered. Sophia Sterling? What did you do to David Miller? Whatever you have against him, come after me. Hearing this, Sophia Sterling pursed her lips at me. She probably felt the same way I did, finding Eleanor Vance's feigned affection ridiculous. I reluctantly took my phone back and said calmly, "I came to find Sophia Sterling on my own." Hearing my words, Eleanor Vance was completely incredulous. Are you crazy, David Miller? You went to her? Where does that leave my reputation? Even at this point, all she cared about was her own image. What about me? She had trampled on my dignity over and over again without mercy. I let out a bitter laugh. Since you can't give me a fair and just job, I can only seek one myself. After speaking, I made to hang up the phone. But Eleanor Vance told me to wait. Are you doing all this just because of me and Brandon Reed? Then I'll ask you, did you see the video from last night? Why didn't you make a fuss, as if nothing happened? I instantly understood. So the video from yesterday was something she orchestrated herself. She was waiting to see me freak out, waiting for me to beg her to take me back. It was truly laughable. I was no longer that naive young man. Every decision I made was well thought out, not a petty trick to win her back. I gave a cold laugh and answered her question seriously. I hope you understand that I am serious about the divorce. As for whatever happens between you and Brandon Reed, it has nothing to do with me. After I said that, the phone went silent, and I gradually lost patience, cutting off the call directly. Sophia Sterling, watching from the side, laughed at me. I've thought she was crazy for a long time. I didn't expect her to actually have something wrong with her brain. You served 3 years in prison for her, and not only is she not grateful, but she's also found someone else? I took a sip of coffee, shrugged, and indicated that I didn't want to continue the topic. From what I knew, Sophia Sterling was a good person. She started her own business at a young age without borrowing a single cent from her family. Now that her company was successful, she started supporting college students in starting their businesses, paving the way for them. The rivalry with Eleanor Vance began over a project. They were in different cities but constantly competed across regions. Both sides suffered quite a bit. After sitting for a while, I suggested we go see the company. Once inside, I found that Sophia Sterling's company was well organized, and the work atmosphere was much more relaxed. She even offered me double my previous salary. Eleanor Vance doesn't appreciate talent, but I do. I shrugged and smiled. I remembered when I had just graduated from college, several companies had offered me jobs. Unfortunately, for the sake of what I thought was love, I made the wrong choice. After the tour, I rented an apartment nearby. That evening, I invited all the colleagues in my department out to dinner as an early get-to-know-you. David, our company's benefits are pretty good. Let's work hard together from now on. Right, right. We should also thank David for treating us. With that, we all raised our glasses and drank merrily. Halfway through the meal, fearing I might lose consciousness, I went to the front desk to pay the bill ahead of time. But just as I handed over my bank card, another card was handed over next to it. When I looked up, I saw Eleanor Vance standing in front of me. While I was stunned, she handed her card directly to the front desk. Use mine. After paying, she frowned and looked me over. You clearly can't drink. Why are you out drinking? Who will take care of you if you get too drunk? Saying that, she reached out to help me. I instantly sobered up and stepped back a few steps, full of caution. I don't need your help. Seeing my unsteady state, Eleanor Vance shook her head helplessly. I'm worried about you being drunk. I'll take you home. The sight of her feigning concern was truly comical. She was the one who told me to handle the drinks for Brandon Reed earlier, and now she was worried about my safety from drinking too much. For a moment, I didn't know which was the real Eleanor Vance. Seeing her step forward, I took another step back, keeping my distance from her. Don't forget what I said. We're over. Sensing my distance, Eleanor Vance couldn't help but frown. Some things are just said in the moment, don't make things too awkward, or it will be hard for everyone to back down. Did she still think I was just making a scene? I really underestimated her self-importance. Seeing that I didn't respond, she realized her tone was stiff. She quickly adjusted her emotions, and her voice became gentle. I swear, there's really nothing going on between me and Brandon Reed. And I already explained, the dance video from that day was intentional for you to see. I was just angry at the moment. Her explanation felt incredibly weak in the face of scene after scene of the truth. In those days, I had seen her favoritism towards Brandon Reed. I had also seen her unconditional preference for him. The tenderness and doting that belonged uniquely to her, she naturally gave to Brandon Reed. It was something I hadn't seen in so many years. Maybe she didn't realize it herself, but as her husband, I saw it clearly. But since things had come to this point, any more explanations were superfluous. I shook my head. You don't need to say anything. You don't need to explain anything to me. We're already divorced. Before I could finish speaking, Eleanor Vance fiercely grabbed my wrist. Meeting her angry, icy gaze, I couldn't help but tremble. She stared at me for a long time and then slowly spoke. I've made it very clear. I, Eleanor Vance, will not divorce you. Do whatever you want. I shook her off and got into a rideshare car to go home. The next day, I woke up feeling groggy and found myself lying on the bed in my apartment. And Eleanor Vance, whom I had thought was only in my dream, was sitting by the bed watching over me. My slight movement startled him awake. David, you're awake. I tried hard to remember what happened last night, but it was like I had blacked out. But seeing her the moment I opened my eyes made me inexplicably irritated. I turned my head away and said coldly, "This is my place. You should leave now." As soon as I spoke, Eleanor Vance suddenly pinched my chin, making me look into her eyes. "David, remember, we have a home together. I'm taking you back now." Home? Maybe it wasn't anymore. Perhaps from the moment I went to prison, or perhaps from the moment I signed the secret marriage agreement. That hadn't been my home for a long time. I impatiently turned my head away and called the apartment manager. "I have an uninvited guest at my place. Please come up and escort her out." Seeing this, Eleanor Vance gritted her teeth and stood up, looking down at me. "We've been together for so many years, David Miller. I don't believe you'll never come back." Her words received no response from me. It wasn't until the bedroom was quiet again that I realized she had left. Despite a night of heavy drinking, I still managed to call a colleague to apologize. Suddenly, Sophia Sterling's voice came through the phone. It must have been Eleanor Vance. "If she comes looking for you again, I'll deal with her for you." I gave a helpless laugh. "Forget it. She's stubborn and won't give up until she hits rock bottom. Let me handle it, so I don't cause you any trouble." It was meant as a joke, but Sophia Sterling unexpectedly became serious. "Then I'm not afraid either." I rubbed my temples, mumbled a few things, and hung up the phone. On my first day of work, Sophia Sterling insisted on holding a welcome party for me at the company. In addition, she gave me a thick stack of money envelopes. I tried to refuse, but she insisted on giving them to me. "You moved out abruptly, you must be short on cash. Take these." This reminded me of the $1 money envelope Eleanor Vance gave me. It was truly ironic and laughable. On my very first day at the company, I took on a big project. If I remembered correctly, it was the one Brandon Reed had recently taken over. On the way to the partner company, Sophia Sterling asked worriedly, "What if you run into Eleanor Vance? Maybe I should handle it?" I looked at the scenery outside the window, my heart already at peace. I just didn't expect to run into Brandon Reed the moment I entered the company building. His attire was still extravagant, and the provocation in his eyes hadn't diminished in the slightest. "David Miller, do you know what your reputation is like at the company now? Both a thief and a traitor. Do you still have the nerve to talk business?" Sophia Sterling next to me was about to step forward and argue, but I stopped her directly, telling her not to be impulsive. I calmly looked at Brandon Reed. "You know best what the truth is. I've never bothered to explain groundless accusations. But Mr. Reed is different. You've already interfered in my marriage. The accusation of being a third party seems to be a foregone conclusion." As soon as the words fell, Brandon Reed raised his hand in anger, ready to hit me. "The one who isn't loved is the third party. I don't know what you're so proud of. Your own wife dislikes you so much she doesn't want to admit she's married to you. Don't you feel ashamed?" Although he was putting up a brave front, he was shaking with rage. I ignored him, glanced down at my watch, and smiled politely. "I have a client meeting. Please excuse me." Although he wanted to continue arguing, seeing Sophia Sterling there, he didn't dare make a move. Fortunately, the negotiation went very well. Although I had been in prison for 3 years, I hadn't lost the experience I'd gained from working my way up in the workplace. "Once they've considered it, we can sign the contract." Sophia Sterling gave me a thumbs up, but then hesitated. It seems Brandon Reed was also here to discuss this project. "Are you confident?" I knew exactly what kind of capability Brandon Reed had. As far as I knew. Since I went to prison, he had always been by Eleanor Vance's side. Every time they attended a social event, he was just there as arm candy. Looking at Brandon Reed's retreating back as he went upstairs, I turned and left with disdain. The next day, a video of me going to prison years ago was leaked online. The initial post was by Brandon Reed using his own account. It instantly pushed me and Sophia Sterling's company into the spotlight. As soon as the post went viral, Brandon Reed came to my apartment to gloat. "David Miller, do you think the partner will sign a contract with a convicted felon?" Hearing his provocation, I smiled slightly. "Mr. Reed, you only know that I went to prison, but do you know who I went to prison for?" As soon as I spoke, Brandon Reed frowned, clearly not knowing the truth. Seeing the look of satisfaction on my face, I continued, "Originally, I intended to keep it to myself, but you forced my hand." Saying that, I took out the agreement proving I took the blame for Eleanor Vance. Brandon Reed's face grew uglier and uglier as he read the contents of the agreement. If I exposed the agreement, Eleanor Vance would be engulfed in public opinion. And he, as someone attached to her, would naturally be affected as well. For him, it was all disadvantages and no benefits. How is this possible? Brandon Reed looked at me, his big eyes welling up with tears. "Please don't expose this, okay? I'll delete the post right away, and I'll give you this project." It was my fault. I snatched the agreement back, my tone calm. "I'll think about it." With that, I closed the door and sent him away. Since Brandon Reed didn't get a definite answer, he frantically pounded on the door. I called security directly and had them forcibly drag him out of the apartment. Although there was a minor incident, it ultimately didn't affect the project collaboration. After successfully signing the contract, Sophia Sterling took our department out for a celebratory dinner. After a few rounds of drinks, I decided to go outside to clear my head. Unexpectedly, I met Eleanor Vance in the hallway, with Brandon Reed standing behind her. Looking at me, the woman coldly ordered Brandon Reed, "Apologize to David immediately." The usually self-righteous Brandon Reed immediately lowered his head and apologized to me. I shrugged indifferently. "I don't regret what I did, so I won't easily expose it. You can rest assured." Saying that, I prepared to walk past them. Unexpectedly, Eleanor Vance grabbed me emotionally. "I'm not afraid of you exposing me. I'm afraid you'll be affected." Her unexpected words made me tilt my head. In Eleanor Vance's world, the company was always the priority. Otherwise, she wouldn't have sent me to prison to protect the company. I really didn't expect her to say what she just did. Seeing that I didn't react, she continued, "Don't worry, Brandon Reed and I have absolutely no relationship anymore. I've already fired him, so, can you come home with me?" I suddenly looked up, meeting her eyes filled with expectation. I had seen those eyes countless times, but now they seemed foreign. To be precise, her heart had changed long ago. So how could I possibly accept her again? I hastily pulled my hand away and kept my distance from her. Impossible. We can never go back. Besides, I'm very happy now. Please stop bothering me repeatedly, okay? As soon as I finished speaking, Eleanor Vance's face darkened, and her eyebrows furrowed tightly. "David Miller, you can't be happy without me, and neither can I. I really haven't been sleeping well these past few days. When I realize you're not next to me in bed, I get scared and have nightmares. Just give me one more chance. I promise I'll never neglect you again. Can't we just go back to how things were before?" Before? Eleanor Vance said it so lightly. I was no longer the person who would give everything for love. And she was no longer the person who made promises to me. I had seen how she favored Brandon Reed. It had repeatedly proven my place in her heart. Hearing this, I let out a cold laugh. "Forget it. I can be happy just fine without you." Saying that, I made to leave. But Eleanor Vance held on to me tightly, refusing to let go. I was wrong. David, I was just confused for a moment. I struggled with all my might. Let go of me. The next second, Sophia Sterling pulled Eleanor Vance away. Don't you understand? Why are you clinging on? The moment Eleanor Vance saw Sophia Sterling, her face immediately darkened, radiating anger. My husband's business is none of your concern, you outsider. Sophia Sterling scoffed. David is still my employee. Why can't I intervene? Besides, don't forget, he's already planning to divorce you. Stop calling him husband and take your little husband and get lost. Hearing this, Eleanor Vance instantly became enraged. She shoved Sophia Sterling, her eyebrows furrowed. If you say that again, don't blame me for being rude. Sophia Sterling lifted her chin, her smile still on her face. She looked directly into Eleanor Vance's eyes and repeated what she had just said. As soon as the words fell, Eleanor Vance slapped her. Startled, I quickly shielded Sophia Sterling with my body, blocking Eleanor Vance's hand. Eleanor Vance, are you crazy? Looking at me, Eleanor Vance clenched her fists, her eyes crimson. I'm the woman you love, and you're shouting at me for her. Hearing that, I was truly amused. I'll tell you one last time, I don't love you anymore. I said each word distinctly, looking at Eleanor Vance, who was frozen in place. After a while, I made to pull Sophia Sterling away, but Eleanor Vance's hysterical scream came from behind me. David Miller. If I stop seeing Brandon Reed from now on, and stop treating Sophia Sterling as an enemy, can you forgive me? In the dim hallway, I didn't look back. Eleanor Vance, I don't love you. It has nothing to do with anyone else. Having said all there was to say, I pulled Sophia Sterling and disappeared down the hallway. Unexpectedly, Eleanor Vance didn't appear again after that. However, she voluntarily turned herself into the police and personally exposed the events of that year online, admitting that I had taken the blame for her. She specifically recorded a video, apologizing to me in front of everyone. In it, she also mentioned Brandon Reed framing me for stealing the watch. In a video of over 10 minutes, it was almost entirely filled with "I'm sorry." And the woman in front of the camera had lost the spirited appearance she once had. The dark circles under her eyes and her messy hair proved that she wasn't doing well. But facing her repeated apologies, my heart remained calm. After watching the video, I instructed my lawyer to send her a notice, arranging to get the divorce certificate at City Hall together. The two of us went through the process like a business transaction, getting the documents with blank expressions. It wasn't until we parted ways at the entrance of City Hall that Eleanor Vance called out to me. Don't worry about the assets. I'll give you everything I can. The woman raised her hand towards me, thought for a moment, and then quietly lowered it. I sincerely hope you can be happy. Take good care of yourself without me. I smiled slightly. You seem to have forgotten, I've always taken care of myself. Eleanor Vance's gaze froze, and she nodded with a faint, almost mocking smile. I lowered my head in acknowledgement and turned to walk down the tree-lined avenue. Eleanor Vance stood rooted to the spot, gazing after me wistfully. Gradually, dark clouds gathered in the sky, and it began to rain softly. I hailed a taxi, and glanced in the rearview mirror, seeing Eleanor Vance standing there, letting the raindrops fall on her, looking utterly forlorn. What she was about to face was the prison sentence I had served in her place. But I looked at the raindrops on the window and smiled. For me, the rain had passed, and it was a brand new day.